Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be Nurgle led by Bob That Builder, facing off against Tzeentch and F-Pod, Exalted Lord of Change, and the Nurgle Sorcerer. Now, as far as the Nurgle build goes, it is going to be a warrior line, so we do have Chaos Warriors of Nurgle with the great weapons. Now, Tzeentch does have a little bit of armor. Obviously, they do have their own Chaos Warriors. And what's cool about the Halberd variant here is it's nice insurance against like a warrior type build, and honestly, with 100 armor, they're going to be durable against most of the Tzeentchian type shooting like the blues and pinks. And if they come in with Flamers of Tzeentch, the shields wouldn't have mattered anyways, right? So I do think that the Great Weapon variant is going to be the right way here. So we do have a full line of Great Weapon Warriors. With a couple of Marauders mixed in, I know there's some chaff, so just some shielded Marauders to screen out. A single Nurgling up in Vanguard, most likely his job is going to be to just move to objective number 1 and hold that for the entire game, and a bit of a character squad. So we do have the foot-based character squad, which is a little bit more designed to grind on an objective. So we have the Exalted Hero. We also have the Cultist, which, let's see what debuffs. He does have the Icon of Eternal Virulence, which is a nice AoE debuff with the Warrior's Bane. So Nurgle is definitely looking for a blob fight, which is nothing new. If you've ever played Nurgle in tabletop or through its history of Total War Warhammer, they've always been a faction that really likes their blobs, right? So, we do also have the Crown of Everlasting Conquest, making this character pretty grindy for sure. 54 melee defense, perpetual healing at 0.20 rate is very, very good. And for the spells, we do have the Nurgle Spirit Leech, which has been getting used quite a bit in some of the replays I've been seeing recently, as well as the Stream of Corruption. So for the Forces of the Changer, another faction that's kind of, Nurgle and Tzeentch have kind of been in the pits a little bit, although I wonder who's doing better right now. I'd have to take a look at the old stats, but yeah, I feel like there's potential within both of these factions for sure, and once they get some updates, they're certainly going to be quite scary. We got blues in the front, objective holders, and they can shoot at any of the demons, so they themselves do magic damage and fire damage, which, in the early days of Warhammer 3, Nurgle just got absolutely trash-canned by Tzeentch, but then again, the Immortals update came in and made the matchup a little bit more fair in my opinion, so we do have the blues, and there's going to be some pinks back here. Exalted pinks, that's pretty exciting, and, Exalted pinks, they have a little bit of fighting prowess in melee, and their shooting can't hurt for sure. They do have 30 missile strength, and again, fire damage against Nurgle is always pretty relevant. And oh my god, it's the Chaos Sorcerer of Tzeentch on his shrine. Oh, hell yeah, sign me up for this. So the shrine, I don't even know what this thing does. It gives leadership, and okay, so the Giver of Arcane Glory. So it can make your spells do up to 20% more damage, and then he does have Final Transmutation on that thing. And up in the sky, we got Kairos. Kairos going to be coming in with the Scroll of Destiny for reserves. Blue fire spam. Looks like he has the ability to steal magic from his opponents. And there's so many of these like niche items you don't see terribly often. And of course, the snare. So pretty cool build. Should be fun, man. If that shrine actually pays dividends, dude, that's going to be super exciting. I mean, getting 20% more damage on like a Final Transmutation doesn't seem like a terrible thing. So if you're able to build this thing up to full, and the way that the shrines build up in this game is if units die near them, so you have it up in the melee fight, then it builds up its intensity. Although I feel like a nice buff to all the shrines. If anybody at Creative Assembly is watching, I think if you made them start with somewhat of a buff, because right now it's like 0 to 20, right? Maybe they start at like a base 5%, and then you can work up another 15 from there. So at least they're like useful out of the gates. I don't know if that would be enough to make them be used. Probably wouldn't even be enough, but I mean, I don't think it'd be a buff that anyone, whether it be multiplayer or campaign players, would complain about, right? So the battle is on. Two forces going to be preparing and skirmishing a little bit. You can see some sweet blue fire going down to the Chaos Warriors here, and blue fire is actually really good against pretty much any target. Good at SEs, good against the multi-unit squads like Chaos Warriors and Chosen. We do see another fire going down there, so that is going to be hitting the Plague Toads and does take out a single model, and a lot of Toads going to be on parade. So the Toads, of course, did get armor-piercing buffs, and they've always been pretty okay against Tzeentch, even before their buffs, because the Toads themselves had anti-infantry and magic damage, which immediately circumvents the physical resist here of these Tzeentch demons, right? So these little popcorn bandits, it's the popcorn duel, the Nurglings versus the blues, but yeah, normally Nurglings get pounded pretty hard by blues, because they can just kind of go in guard mode and shoot them with their very, very deep ranks. But Nurgle's going to have to pounce soon. Obviously, Tzeentch does have the objective advantage. They have the 2 points, so that is going to be forcing the initiative here, as we do see the Nurgle Warriors getting roasted by a little bit of Tzeentch's Unholy Fire. They have shields, though. Not going to be a huge deal, and they should be able to handle these blues pretty decisively in combat, unless, of course, Kairos comes over, and he's not as good of a fighter as the regular Lords of Change, the regular Exalted Lords of Change, but he's still not terrible. I mean, he's got 400 plus weapon strength, and he isn't messing about. So, Marauders get in here, bashing on these blues, and we see the Toads of Nurgle moving in as well. Anti-infantry bonus is going to be stacking up here, and you can immediately see they get through the shields rather quickly. Kairos, of course, is hard hitting a lot of the Toads, which is a nice play, and he's not taking too much damage. The Toads themselves don't really have the best melee attack, so if they're not fighting something that's infantry size, they can struggle a little bit. Aside from that, looks like Nurgle's going to be sounding the virulent horn as the hordes of the Plague God advance up. We see Toads, we see Chaos Warriors moving up, and the Chaos Warriors are definitely going to be a little bit problematic. They're very, very heavily armored and do have access to some healing, if I'm not mistaken. No, I don't think he brought it. He probably has Fecundity. And oh, Chaos Knight's coming out. That's pretty heavy metal. Now, Chaos Knights against Warriors, if they can get a rear charge, they can certainly do some work. We'll have to keep tabs on these Chaos Knights, forget all the other action on the battlefield. This is going to be the most pertinent. And it looks like they do get an okay charge into the side, but the problem is Nurgle Warriors have very high melee defense for a great open unit. They have poison to drag down these Knights. And now Toads with the much better armor-piercing values are going to be able to kind of wreck these Chaos Knights. So that's actually probably a winning trade for Nurgle, as they have a 700 gold, or no, 1200 gold range unit tied down, and also these Chaos Knights embroiled in combat with great weapons. A couple things that are looking a little bit dicey, to say the least. And it looks like Nurgle's going to be swinging the objective. However, one thing that's going very well for Tzeentch, really nice blue fire right there, is that all of the pinks do have a really classic RTS concave, where they're in that kind of semicircle, kind of crescent moon formation, and they're able to just kind of rain unholy fire down on reasonably expensive targets in these Plague Toads. So these Nurglings and Toads will probably be getting melted pretty quickly. And we do see the Shrine of Nurgle still, the Shrine of Slaanesh going about. Oh my god, the brain just can't get it. The Chaos God Tzeentch is playing tricks on my mind. Yes, the Shrine of Tzeentch is going to be collecting those nice intensity charges. Currently going to be sitting at, let's see what its intensity's at right now, up to 7%, so certainly not bad. So Chaos Knight's going to be pulling back. Looks like Screamers are going to be called in. I really like the choice of Screamers here. They can fly around, get a nice rear charge. They have armor piercing if they have to fight the Warriors, and they also have anti-large for the Toad, so they certainly bring some nice utility. The Chaos Knights had a really cost-ineffective fight. They're only getting a couple hundred value, but if you can get the Chaos Knights like down and around now, like around the back of this formation, and just hammer them, you'd probably break their leadership and kill the Toads pretty quickly. Side objective being held onto by Tzeentch, so it looks like they did win that little skirmish fight there versus the Toads and the Marauders. But Nurgle has taken the home objective of Tzeentch and is really, really putting the pressure on. Look into value right now. Bob is at 2.9, Tzeentch sitting at 2.4. So F-Pod certainly has a little bit of ground to make up. Nurgle doesn't have a ton of healing in this, and Tzeentch does have healing via shields as well, so there's a little bit of healing on both sides. The only healing you're really going to be seeing out of Nurgle is going to be Fecundity, so that's going to be the armor ability, which is nice, but it's not like going to be an insane amount, like an overcasted fleshy abundance on like a big blob or something like that. So we haven't seen Rancid Visitations in action yet, and maybe it was cast on the Chaos Knights and I didn't notice it, but the Chaos Warriors of Nurgle are just awesome, man. I'm so happy that Nurgle just got the big, like, Baroque great weapons. They're so cool looking. And yeah, Toad's being much better now. Nurgle certainly feels like it's coming into a bit of a better place. Like, I feel like there's a handful of like techs with Nurgle that, you know, maybe tournament players haven't really delved into too much, with, you know, them being one of the weaker factions for a long time. You know, a lot of the really sweaty folks are going to abandon them, right? But I do feel like there's some hidden tech with Nurgle where they can actually compete against some of the better factions. Even against things like Chaos Dwarves with their, you know, currently broken capture weight and a couple units. I think Nurgle's got some tricks. Granted, it's still really hard to deal with Bull Centaurs. Now, Nurgle just holding on to the 2 points. I really do think Nurgle should be pressing the side point. You know, playing in Tzeentch's backfield like this, even though you're ahead on value, does give them an opportunity to grind you back a little bit more effectively with the access to the closer spawns and whatnot. Man, Nurgle's Grey Opens are doing so good. Uh-oh. That's going to be fat. That's going to be an overcasted Final Transmutation, I think. Yeah, or a basic variant, but even still, that hits a lot of stuff. It hits the Barons of the Bog right here. It also hits the Cultists. It hits the Warriors. And that is with the spell intensity being up to, currently, we are looking at 19%. So that's going to be doing 20% more damage. And immediately you can see that actually pulled the value up a lot, because that really just broke the back of this Nurgle formation. As an Exalted Hero goes down, Marauders go down, Barons of the Bog getting absolutely karate chopped, Gaze of Faded, as a matter of fact. Fecundity trying to keep them going, keep those Toads going strong. Now Nurgle's going to be playing for the side point. So they should have done this a little bit earlier. I think if they had just sent a single Toad over here with these Remnant Marauders, I think they could have had that third point, and then Tzeentch would just be massively behind in points right now. But now we're looking at a situation that could be very, very precarious, where Nurgle is going to be in a little bit of trouble after that big Final Transmutation going down. They could be losing this objective, and then Tzeentch does have the side objective as well. We'll have to see, though. Those Warriors are doing great, but looks like they do get buckled off here. The Screamers in tandem with the Terror Route. Nice little blue fire going down to the Chaos Sorcerer Lord. The Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle, I think, is also a very cool pick. He himself, sorry, I'm having some cursed allergies today, but he himself heals for the point 2-0, I think. Yeah, so it's going to be some fat heals and certainly going to make him very tough to kill. And he's got the evasion, which is kind of cool as well. It does give him a little bit of melee defense and speed, but it looks like Nurgle is going to be getting pressed off this objective. So objective number 2 is just barely being held onto by the Plague God, showing the tenacity of his warriors. We see the Plague Toads of Nurgle, a couple great opens here still grinding. The side point, though, is being taken by Nurgle, which is good. So now it looks like Bob is going to be kind of falling back and playing the Nurgle defensive game, which is certainly something they do well. That's often what you'll see Nurgle do in domination games, is get pressed up, or they'll press you up super hard, and then eventually they get pushed back, and then they just fall back, using their resiliency to hold on to the back objectives, while from the point lead that they got a little bit earlier in the game, which is certainly a very, very Nurgle playstyle. But man, Kairos is just going ham. Right here, we do see the Chaos Sorcerer getting broken, and that means Nurgle's not going to have any more magic, and that thing is going to get chased off the battlefield. And even though it won't be reflected in the damage value up top if he gets routed off the battlefield, that's still a massive, massive rout, considering it is the Lord of the Nurgle army. It's also going to be an army-wide leadership debuff, and things are going to get very scary. So Nurgle does have the triple cap, though, and I would imagine... oh, it looks like the Exalted Hero came back. I would probably pull the Exalted Hero back to objective number 1. Maybe just start retreating and falling back, because at this point, you need to force Tzeentch to overextend, I feel, because they've had the home field advantage for a long time, which has given them the tools they need to really get this this momentum back, right? So Chaos Sorcerer Lord probably going to be down for the count. He's getting beaten on by the old Drumstick Master. Granted, his high melee defense and his constant healing, which I believe is still active even when he's broken. You know, the Plague Father will keep it going, even in the darkest of times. You know, when you're in your darkest moment, you can look to Nurgle, and he'll take care of you. So here you can see the blue shooting down into the Chaos Warriors. Chaos Warriors tanking it like absolute champs. And look at the shrine, man. I don't know. This is a Chaos Sorcerer on a shrine, I guess. Currently sitting at about 1100 value. I believe its Final Transmutation is where it got pretty much all that value. Its melee attacks are pretty pitiful, generally speaking, despite having these like cool Chaos Monster mutant things on it. But yeah, even still, 1000 value from a Final Transmutation, you know, breaking characters. Even though it didn't necessarily kill the Exalted Hero, it did break the position and was able to really nuke a lot of the characters that were fighting there. And we do see the Chaos Sorcerer being escorted danger close to the edge of the battlefield, ladies and gentlemen. Now, more warriors moving in. Tzeentch has got an unholy amount of capture weight here, though. Each of these guys is 5 capture weight. So when they get that move on and they're able to kind of get up there and start getting their weight on these objectives, they probably will flip very, very quickly. For Nurgle, you're probably just going to want to send out any sort of armor or shielded units that you possibly can. And in the backfield, we see more Toads and more Warriors coming out. So the Marauders, they will die pretty quick to the Focus Fire. That is the one downside of those bad boys. But yeah, I wonder what I mean, I think the Great Weapons are the correct decision, generally. Because if you don't have the Great Weapons and you do run into a bit of armor, you're going to have a really bad time. But yeah, I guess, yeah, do Tzeentch players, like, use a lot of, like, Chosen? Has there been some weird tech of, like, seeing that? Like, this is a lot of Great Opens. So, whereas I think you would normally see, like, some sort of a combination of both, perhaps. But Cultist here. He's still bashing away, providing his 3 capture weight, but it looks like the Changer is going to be grabbing this objective back. He's going to have to get it pretty quickly, though. This is rapidly going to be changing into a situation where he's going to need a triple cap against the old Bob, and Bob is going to be Helm's Deeping on these points pretty hard. He does have Marauders right here and right here, unsummoning to try and refresh the pool of units, but pulling back to the points is going to be very good. And he probably will get to a situation, like I said, where it's going to be a triple cap. Nurgle could even resummon its Lord, because right now Nurgle's leadership is a little bit fickle. The Lord recently fled is negative 16 leadership for, I believe it's like 30 seconds after the Lord's off the battlefield, maybe a little bit longer. It eventually goes down to 10. So there's like an immediate shock penalty, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they changed that in recent patches, but we'll have to keep tabs on that over the course of the game. But I believe in domination mode, you can resummon your Lord to mitigate that penalty, because essentially he's back on the battlefield having a good old time. So Chaos Sorcerer Shrine, moving on over. Where is it going to go? Is it going to be a dual-pronged push? Is Tzeentch going to be going for multiple objectives at once? Or are they going to be consolidating all their forces and trying to get a bit of a hammer on one and then just kind of bouncing between those? It's a little bit of a tricky situation. I mean, Tzeentch is probably pretty... yeah, they're probably even on value. Maybe Tzeentch is even a little bit ahead on value. Nurgle did have a lot of somewhat expensive units, including their Lord out off the battlefield, which aren't being accounted for here. And there has been a lot of downtime in the fighting, which has allowed many of the Tzeentchian units to replenish their shields. So nice firepower going into the Marauders here, as the other Marauders attempt to hold on here. We see the points closing in on 1200. And Bob, is he going to make a push for the home objective? Could get a little bit crazy here. I do think that... I can't help but feel that's a mistake, but we'll have to see how that plays out. I almost think just sitting back here, because like if you move into their zone, you're letting them get the value that they would normally get having to fight you on your own objective, right? And like maybe just sitting in the trees here would be a really good idea, using some of the terrain to mitigate the shooting and make them shoot into the trees to waste their ammunition. But even still, it's a scary one. So this objective's for sure going to flip. We do see the most likely terror routes coming down for the big chicken, Kairos Fate Weaver getting in there, and the remnants. Dude, I love how cool Chaos Knights are in Warhammer 3. Like back in the day, like the Chaos Knights looked like they were like legitimately riding ponies, which was hilarious. But we see the big chicken getting in there with his drumstick, and yeah, he still causes terror. So I would imagine these Nurgle units, once they get a little bit more beat up, might end up flipping. We'll have to see. Knights do get broken off, and we do get multiple pinks and blues. And over here, we do get Nurgle pushing up to try and steal this objective. A very, very aggressive play. Super aggressive, because if they like get routed here quickly, there's a slim chance. But even still, man, I don't see too many ways that Tzeentch can... maybe. It's going to be really, really close. If Tzeentch can stem the bleeding on this objective and just capture it, yeah, you can see they're moving up right now. I think that's more important. Like, let Kairos get the terror routes, get the capture weight up on the point, and that would then give you a lot more time to work with. Right now, it's like two points per second, but if you could mitigate it down to just 1, then you would have a little bit more time to push up. So we see the Tzeentch army ability going down. That's going to be a fat one. Oh my god. That's brutal. Oh man, that's brutal. That does a ton of damage to that Nurgle army. And suddenly, could we see a Tzeentch counter push coming in? Hard to say. Some Chaos Warriors. We do have the Exalted Hero. Nurgle foot characters are very, very good. Nurgle characters in general are strong. Like the Cultists are good. The Exalted Heroes are very strong. They all do pretty well. But the back objective actually being contested, but Nurgle does get just absolutely roasted off that point. Whereas on the side, it looks like Big Daddy Nurgle going to be trying to hold on. We do see the Gaze of Fate going down, but not before the Toads are able to get to the objective. And is Bob going to be able to reinforce his back objective? Does he have the units in the pool? He's trying to hold on to a couple points. I think this is totally a Helm's Deep situation. So I think the overextension could have maybe cost Nurgle the game. Like I said, I think sitting back in the trees and forcing them to advance up to you so you could get the faster reinforcements might have been the play, but understandably, like this objective, you could see it was flipping the Nurgle a little bit, so there was a bit of credence to the idea of getting in there and trying to take the objective while he's busy fighting with his Lord over here. Plague Toads fighting, Barons of the Bog trying to maintain some capture weight, but the Gaze of Fate did lock them down. I think at this point you just retreat. This would be a big mistake going up and fighting here. This point probably is going to flip, and yeah, you can see the pinks are up in the point. Kairos is going to get a terror route. Nice little stream of corruption right there. It does tickle the shield, but isn't really going to do too much more damage beyond that. But it is going to be flipping as Nurgle does fight for this point. Whereas this is probably just going to go, man. I mean, we see some Chaos Warriors coming up. That's 5 capture weight, but we do have some, you know, pretty speedy little demons, right? The Exalted, pinks and blues, they have good speed. I mean, I think they're like, what, 38, 40 speed? Yes, they're pretty quick. And the Chaos Warriors aren't going to get there quick enough. And oh my god, Tzeentch is going to get this one, I think. Yeah, Nurgle is getting roasted on just so many points. They did bring in the Nurgle Sorcerer Lord again to get a little bit of a, you know, leadership buff for the army. But the Chaos Warriors are going to be kept off the point. Beautiful play here by FPod. It was all in the plan. Tzeentch planned it all along. They knew Nurgle would overextend to its doom. A little popcorn bandit Nurgling trying to get up to the point, but I think that is going to be it. Oh my god, 1497, it's so close! Oh, Tzeentch has got the objective. Side objective is being held by Tzeentch as well. Nurgle is going to be trying to wrestle this one back, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't think it's going to happen. We see the Chaos Warriors getting up here and fighting, a couple Toads coming back, but I mean, if Nurgle even captures anything for a second, it's GG, right? So if you're the Nurgle player here, you keep scrapping and hoping that somehow one of these grinds works out and somehow Palpatine has returned. Couple Warriors making their way back in. Over here, we do see Nurgle fighting with their Toads as well as their Great Weapons, both of which are doing okay, but there's Chaos Knights here. There's a lot of firepower. We even have the Chaos Sorcerer Shrine, baby. 1900 value on the Shrine, not bad at all. I would assume a lot of that is the magic damage and the final transmutation. There was a final transmutation back here in tandem with the Tzeentch army ability, which I think was able to really wreck the Nurgle advance, but oh my god, look at that, 1498. That is so close. And Nurgle starting to wrestle this objective a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. Did Tzeentch overcommit to the back objective? They're in a situation where if the Plague God is able to get anything for even a second, no Forsaken, so no super speedy infantry. I mean, guaranteed blues are quick at 38 speed, but they're going to need to get in here pretty darn quick. Pinks holding on to the point. We do have the other pinks fighting here. I believe these are Exalted Pink Horrors, so they're actually pretty good in combat. They have 33 and 41 for their combat stats, so they could probably fight off like these Marauder units with relative efficiency. But if Nurgle flips that one back, that's for sure GG. Chaos Warriors still holding and fighting here, but there's just a critical mass of Tzeentchian units, which should be able to get the win, especially if these Furies come around the back and just rear charge them. That would really help to break their leadership. But man, Nurgle playing a little bit of a wild game here as we do see this one looking like it could flip back to Nurgle, but I think as the Chaos Knights do come over, it's going to be the portent of doom here for the forces of the Plague God, as Tzeentch's great plans are being unfurled. Blue's moving up to objective number 3, and that is going to be providing a hell of a lot of capture weight. And I think once these objectives are just kind of locked down here, and you see the Blues moving up, Nurgle isn't like a super quick faction that can do too many crazy tricks, but oh, they had some routed units in the forest. Oh my god, no! Oh no, he didn't see it! Right as I was about to say, Nurgle doesn't have too many tricks up their sleeve, dude. Oh, that feels so bad. This is like one of those situations where if you're Tzeentch and you leave one unit back here, okay? You leave one unit, you just win the game. But at the end, the Nurgle units had some units that routed into the trees, so the Tzeentch player probably didn't see them. And then they just came back. Oh, that feels so bad. But Nurgle is the cunning one. Nurgle's plan all along. All right, we got to fast forward to get the anticipation going. Okay, a couple flyers come in. Are they going to be able to get the route? Oh my god, he needs to block those things. This objective's so close. Oh, it's so close. Look at that. Jeez. And look at that. Tzeentch gets it back. All planned all along. All planned all along. Nurgle wrestles for their home objective here with some Nurglings and some Warriors. And he knows all he needs is like 1 second for that objective. Of course, we do get the Chaos Sorcerer coming in as well. It's going to be providing a little bit of capture weight. Nurgle Toad still fighting over here with some Marauders. Chaos Knights heading back over. And man, guys, that was like literally a split second away from capping. And that would have just been GG because he wouldn't have been able to get it back quick enough, which was just absolutely wild. Plague Toads coming in. And they will give you a little bit of stopping power, but now you're getting a little bit danger close where you don't have too much time to work with. And it looks like Tzeentch going to be getting their Knights back in, but can Nurgle flip this point? Dude, this game has been an emotional roller coaster. This is like peak domination right here. Chaos Sorcerer Lord fighting for the point, the mighty .20 healing, using his Baleful Blade to attack Kairos Fateweaver. As hordes and hordes of Toads make their way in. Nurgle looking like they might be able to swing this objective back, ladies and gentlemen. We do have some Chaos Knights coming in to try and stop it, but it looks like Nurgle's going to be able to get it back. Oh my god, look at the score, and Tzeentch gets it by 2 points. with 1 second. That is probably one of the closest domination games we've ever had. The back and forth, the emotional roller coasters, the narratives, all that stuff, man. Oh my God. Like, there was mistakes on both sides, but that's what made it a great game, right? It's just perfect. The Chaos Warriors did great. I mean, look at that. 1,200, 1,000, 1,100. Despite being under heavy firepower and magic duress, they did great. The rest of the army, of course, Toads are solid. I mean, a lot of typical good Nurgle stuff, right? And for Tzeentch, double Chaos Knight. I love the Chaos Knights in action. It's cool that they ended up paying for themselves, or at least one of them did. The other one, I think, was the first one we saw that kind of got caught up in great weapons, but yeah, still not bad. Well played to Bob and FPod. So thank you guys so much for sending that replay, dude. That was super, super fun. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with some tournaments. Faction Wars coming up soon. I'm in the process of arranging that, so stay tuned. And yeah, GG, well played. See you guys.